What's up there, my fellow skeptics and paranormal enthusiasts? Welcome back to another episode of Ghosts in the Machine. Today's episode, we are going to be talking about Michigan's Nanny Cam Ghost. And this is a case that I worked on in 2019. It originally came to me via several links from friends of mine, mostly ghost hunters, that were saying, hey, can you take a look at this video? Because it was a video clip that was making the rounds, it was going viral, and they wanted me to look at it. So let's look at the opening segment for the news broadcast that inspired this investigation.
Video of the unknown. What is it? Is it real? And what is it doing there? A family in Highland, Michigan believes their house is actually haunted and thinks something is harming their little girl.
It's an image Heather and Josh say is haunting their home.
It was chilling. It was literally a chill down your spine, like that what if factor. Like, is this what I just saw?
Caught on the couple's nanny cam video a few weeks ago, what appears to be something moving in front of the baby crib.
I freaked out. I stopped what I was doing and I ran upstairs and I grabbed my daughter.
Heather says this so-called ghost scratched her daughter Lily and attacked her too.
All right, so this interested me. I mean, when I saw this, I was like, all right, cool. We got a few things here. We have a video. We have a video clip, which it's only a few seconds long. There's not a lot to go on, but we can find details within that video. So I went out and searched and I found a the highest definition copy that I could find. So we're going to take a look at that. And we're going to address the concerns of the baby being scratched, the mom also claiming later on that she was physically assaulted. We're going to take a look at that and some stories, some ghost stories associated with that. But that's going to come in the second part of this video. Right now, we're going to focus on the video that was presented saying there's a ghost in this house. So let's take a look at the video itself. So this is the best video version I could find, and you can see the alleged apparition is there. It was there in the middle with the word circle, and it went to the left, and the baby gets up, obviously alerted to something. And this is a slowed down version of it, showing you a little bit better, I guess, of what the alleged ghost is. All right, so I want to take a look at the footage itself and point out a few things, because there's obviously a few things that stand out to me. So let me put this up on screen so we can take a look at it. And what we're seeing here is a dark environment. That's obvious. That's pretty obvious. We have a dark environment. There are no lights on except for we have a television over here. This is a television, a large screen TV that's on a bureau over there. And we have pictures of that from the news broadcast so we can verify, yes, this is a TV. It's not doing anything. It looks like it's got some text up there, but it actually looks like it's it's paused. It looks like it's paused, maybe from a DVD or a movie or something, but it looks like it's just paused. So we're getting light from there. There also might be a night light over in this area closer to the floor. I'm not sure because it does look particularly bright, but I'm not sure if that's still from the TV. The other thing is the light from the camera itself. Now, this is a Logitech camera. It's a night vision camera. It's a security camera, actually, is what it is. It's a Logitech Circle 2 wired camera. And you place it anywhere you want, you plug it in and it goes right to your phone, and it has a night vision mode, which we can see here. It's on a corner table, and there's a problem with this because this is reflecting the infrared light from the camera itself. And we can also see that the infrared light from the camera is shining on the crib itself and illuminating the area of the bed here, everything here, because the only other light source we see is the TV. So all of this light, this reflected light on this side, is coming from the camera itself. And that's important when we get further along in the video and we start comparing it with a ghost hunting team that went in and tried to recreate it, but failed miserably when they did this. So these are a few things I wanted to point out. And specifically this part here, because it's on the table and this is reflecting a lot of the infrared light, you have an issue with camera focus with exposure. And we can see in several of the when we look at the specs for the camera itself, it tells you specifically to set it up without anything obstructing, without anything in front of the camera that would reflect the light. So when we look at Logitech's website and the conditions they recommend for setting up this camera, it says in the highlighted section here, night vision works up to 15 feet. So make sure the camera is up to 15 feet away from movement. This is telling you that it's up to 15 feet. It doesn't actually mean that it is 15 feet, that it can see like that perfectly. It can't. It sees up to 15 feet. And that's when you're going to get the worst quality at the end of that 15 feet. 15 feet sounds like it's pretty far, but I mean, let's take a look at how far 15 feet is with a measuring tape. I've come down to my second laboratory, my second personal laboratory, which is my kitchen. And I'm going to show you exactly how far 15 feet looks when the lights are on. So right here on the threshold between my dining room and my kitchen, there's 15 feet. And it goes to the cabinet, the front of the cabinet. Right there. Does not go to the wall. So right now I'm against the cabinet. I moved the camera that you're viewing on. I moved that about 6 inches back so it compensates for me being about 15 feet away. So this is the limit to what that camera can see in the dark. And anything coming up to this and beyond this gets bad. The resolution gets lower. The quality of video gets poorer. So you're not going to get this high quality video where you're going to be able to see things in perfect detail. You're going to get a blurry image. You're going to get motion blur. You're going to get camera artifacts, and it's going to look really poor quality overall. Another point that I want to point out, I'm not good with scripting. I want to point this out is the second area that is important in the specifications of this camera. And it reads, the area you want to monitor is clear and unobstructed with no objects close to the camera in its field of view. The reflection of the night vision light from these objects may cause the automatic system to overcompensate, darken the image, and reduce visibility of objects in the distance. That is exactly what we see here. When we look at this part, this is part of the corner table, and it's reflecting light, and it's causing the overall image to darken and reduce visibility. So they're already working at a disadvantage here. So we can see from the instructions, we can see from the distance, there's a lot working against it. We have this reflection of the IR light from the table, and we're looking across. This bed looks to be a king or queen size bed. I think it's a queen or a king actually, and we can look at it. There was an episode of Ghost Nation, which is something we're going to get into in a couple minutes. It's a ghost hunting show starring Jason Hawes. That's him there. But this is when they investigated this house or these claims, and you can see this is the bed here. This looks like a king size bed. So we're talking there's at least these are about 6.5 feet on average, not including the banister or the headboard and the footboard. You have columns there. You have other these things coming out. I think drawers. Let's see here. There's another view that we have. This is another view that they supplied, which you can see. You can see the shelves or the drawers. They look like plastic drawers coming out. So you're talking. This is 6.5 feet to here, 7, maybe 8 with the headboard, then 9, 10 feet away. At least 10 feet before this pathway starts here. So we're talking that when we go back to the picture here, this is in the corner. And I also want to show you real quick. Let's see. Let me bring that picture back up. Hold on. There we go. Right here, that's the camera. That's the camera, and this is the table that it looks like it's on when we look at the original video here, and we see this reflective surface here. So the infrared light is reflecting off the marble top here. But you're talking about at least probably 9-10 feet just to the end of the cabinets here. And then when the figure, which is back here, it's a very blurred picture. Again, you can see how the quality of the video is just poor to begin with. But you can easily say like 11, 12 feet estimate. This is from the camera. And because we have this IR reflection, it's diminishing the effective range of the infrared light, which is set up to 15 feet. Now it's probably up to 10 feet because it darkens the image. It's just really bad. Most likely, the scenario here is that the mother or father, which is I believe it's Heather or Joshua. They were a couple that's engaged, parents to the baby there, that they were watching a movie. They decided they either wanted a drink or something like that, and they were in bed. They paused the movie, and this is taking place at night because this right here is a window. There's a window here, and then over on the other side here, this is a door this to a bathroom, but there's a hallway here that leads to another window, and then the stairway to go down. And we see that in different footage, but if it was daytime, we would see light coming in both of these windows, but there is no light coming in whatsoever. So this is a good guess that it's nighttime. And the only light, again, is coming from the TV that we know of and the camera. So most likely somebody got up, mom or dad got up from bed after they paused the video and then stopped here, maybe checked their phone. And that's when the camera picked it up, maybe on motion sensing. And as they walked down here, because the original video, it looks like they walked into the hallway, which means they probably went downstairs to get something to drink. Okay, I want you to watch up here around this fan, because this is another telltale sign that this is probably mom or dad. Watch this ceiling fan shadow here, because we have the ceiling fan here, and then we have the shadow of the ceiling fan due to which from here, like if we trace the shadow edge here to there and draw a line, it's going down. It's not going towards the TV, which I would expect. This is pointing down here. So I'm guessing the light that's shining on these clothes on the clothing rack here is a night light. It's most likely a little night light, which is shining up. But I just want you to watch this, especially this area. And then hopefully, I think this is wide enough that you can see over here too. So let's play this. And you can see the shadow. Let me jump back here. There you go. You can see the shadow going across the wall, the ceiling. And you can actually see it over here changing as they get closer to the doorway. And that is another telltale sign that, again, like I said, it's somebody there. It's most likely somebody there. All right, one last thing, real quick. I want to insert a review here that's by a gentleman named Gabe Turner, who goes by the Security Baron, and he reviews security cameras and security systems and stuff like that. And he did a review on the Logitech Circle 2, and I'm just taking a clip out here showing you his review and his sample of the night vision capability of this camera, just so you get a better idea of how much of a poor quality this was.
Let's go look at the night vision. So now we're looking at the night vision on the Logitech Circle 2 Wired Edition home security camera. Now, the Circle 2 can be used both indoor and outdoor, and even you can turn off the infrared light, which we're using now to record this video, indoor, and point it at a window, and it will use the ambient light or whatever illumination you have outside to record. Regardless, the night vision is definitely lacking. What you'll see is that even the company states that it can see only about 15 feet, but here I am about 4.5 feet away, and I'm definitely suffering in terms of what is visible in this shot. So the night vision on the Circle 2 definitely leaves something to be desired.
So I want to shift it up a little bit. This case was featured on an episode of a ghost hunting reality show called Ghost Nation, and it stars Jason Hawes, Steve Gonzalez, and Dave Tango. And they came out to this location, which is in Michigan, and because the family invited them out, they had some stories to share about the main house, because the video takes place in what's called a carriage house. It's a smaller kind of house with a first and second floor. That's on the property of the main house where Joshua's parents live. So his parents live in the main house, Joshua and his fiance at the time, Heather, and her baby Lily lived in this carriage house where the video took place. So I want to show you part of the recreation that they do, and I had some issues with it, and I'll explain.
Steve, make sure that bathroom light's off.
Bathroom light off.
The footage was recorded around the same time of day. Perhaps the ghostly image was a shadow from outside.
See, if we go here,
Before we can consider any evidence to be paranormal,
this is pretty dead on.
we need to make sure it wasn't caused by some unintentional camera trick.
Yeah, that's the exact spot. Alright, Steve, walk the walk. I probably look very much like a solid person, right?
No, it's obvious, Steve. No, I can tell it's you.
Despite multiple attempts and techniques, we were unable to debunk the apparition captured on the nanny cam.
So I'm going to play this video again, and I'm going to do commentary this time, like Mystery Science Theater 3000 kind of style. And I'm going to insert some pictures. I'm going to insert some arrows showing you, some flaws and why this is a very poor recreation in an attempt to explain what happened with this video. So here we go. All right. So first off, listen to exactly what they say. I mean, this is important. The first thing that he tells Steve to do.
Steve, make sure that bathroom light's off.
Bathroom light off.
Bathroom light off. See, turn it off.
Same time of day. Perhaps the ghostly image was a shadow.
That's important. I just want to pause here. That's important. Remember that they turned the bathroom light off before doing this alleged recreation. And I'll just let you see it.
From outside. See, if we go here, before we can...
I want to show you something here too, is that they are moving the camera. So in the original video with the alleged ghost, the camera's over here. It's placed on here, and I think I showed a picture of that earlier in this video, showing that the camera's actually positioned over here. So you're talking a good 3 feet, 4 feet maybe from its original position, and that changes the angle. And it looks like these drawer sets that they're putting the camera on now they're higher. They're higher, so you might be able to see more, but it still changes the angle. And I would rather, for me, I'd rather have the same exact angle as best as possible. But let's move on.
Consider any evidence to be paranormal. This is pretty dead on. We need to make sure it wasn't caused by some unintentional camera trick.
Yeah, that's the exact spot.
All right,
So he
Steve.
says that's the exact spot,
Walk the walk.
and I think we see here, this is the exact spot that they're talking about. And I'm going to put in a photograph here showing the first time that they did this. So let's see, it's 24 seconds. Let me see if I can go back here just to show you.
We need to make...
There you go. That's the first time they say that they have the perfect angle, and it's pretty close. If you can see up over here, you'll see a comparison between this shot and the original video shot. And then if we jump ahead to where they're setting it up again, you'll see that between those two pictures, it's now a different angle. And well, I'm going to show you something that's really important here.
I probably look
Right there. So remember when I said, pay attention to the beginning of the clip where they say they turn the bathroom light off, and he turns the bathroom light off, and now it's on again. So this is a big continuity error. We see this in movies a lot. When things screw up, people have different clothing in same scene or something like that. And in this, we're seeing that the footage was edited out of sync. It was out of the original timeline because they turned the light off, but we never see them turn it back on. But obviously it is. And now they are recreating a video that was taken in a dark room with no lights on except for the television. Now they're doing it with the bathroom light on, and that's going to fully illuminate somebody that's walking in front of it. But let's continue.
very much like a solid person, right?
No, it's obvious, Steve.
And yeah, so we have two things with this. We can see that the bathroom light is coming from this direction over on the side here. There's an object here that's in the way, and I'll get to that in a second. But we also see on the side here on the right side of the screen, because this is his phone that we're looking at. This is the window that's between the big screen TV, and then there's another like old box TV that's on this side. But this is a window, and we can see daylight coming through the curtains. So it's daylight. and there's lots of light coming in. So we're getting light from both sides, and it's completely illuminating Steve, who's walking around. But what I really want to point out is that this object here, I believe that is the camera, like from the camera crew that they take with them. I think that's the camera guy. His camera that's set down maybe on a tripod, or maybe he's holding it. I don't know, but that's what it looks like. I can't really tell because it's in silhouette, and it shouldn't be, because if they were recreating the events from the TV show or from the original video, then the infrared lights on the security camera should be on, which means that this thing here should be illuminated. And then over here, this is the side of the bed, the parent's bed. That should be illuminated. It should be lit up. We should see details from that because it's close by the camera, but we're not. We're not seeing it. So I mean, when we look at everything here, we're going. Let me put myself back up here. So what we're seeing here is that the angle is wrong. The lighting conditions are wrong because it's done in daylight, with daylight coming in through one of the windows. They have a bathroom light on, which is an extra light, a bright light too, that it makes it look like they turned it off, but it's back on again when they're actually doing this video clip. And then they turned the infrared lights off on the security camera itself, which were originally on. So this is not by any means a proper recreation. So let's go back. There's one more thing I want to point out here. And it's right at the end of the clip.
Tell it you.
Here we go.
Despite multiple attempts and techniques, we were unable to debunk the apparition captured on the nanny cam.
So they
Steve, make
say
sure
that
bathroom light's off.
let me turn it off here. They say that they did multiple attempts, multiple techniques to try to recreate this video. And we don't see that. We actually don't see that at all. We see them reposition the camera incorrectly, and then all the things that I already mentioned. So this is only one technique that we see, and we're seeing a copy of a copy. We're seeing their camera crew filming their phone. We don't actually see the original video that they took to see how good a quality it is. But even so, I'm sorry, and Jason Halls is actually a friend of mine, and we get along pretty good. But I think this is a good example of poor editing on whoever edited this episode, poor recreation, and just bad methodology surrounding this incident. And this is why they came out here. This is the basis of them coming and bringing this show here. So it's I wish they would call me. Jason, call me next time when you go out. When you have a video like this, call me. I can help. I would love to help. I really sincerely. The last thing I want to touch on here, and I'm going to try and do it real quick because I'm trying to keep these videos under a half hour, is the ghost stories that are associated with this property. Now, in the original news segment that I saw concerning the ghost video, there was, I believe, Joshua's father related a story about a suicide, and I'm going to let him retell the story here. This is the segment that I saw.
The story that I was told was the gentleman that lived here originally committed suicide, apparently, by jumping out this window, which is, of course, one full story down.
So fast forward a few months later, after this ghost story video or ghost video hit the news and went viral, the parents, Mr. and Mrs. Higgins, that own the property, they reached out to Ghost Nation, which is the ghost hunting show that I've been featuring and comparing clips to in this episode. And so the Ghost Nation crew comes out there and they start talking to the owners and interviewing them, and we get two alleged ghost stories. So the owners, the Higgins, say that according to what they've heard or what they've been told, there was one story in the main house, which involved a woman named Dorothy, who was an elderly woman, and she unfortunately fell down a very small flight of stairs, which was only about 3 stairs that you see. And I'll try and put a picture up here of that. she fell down and had an accident, broke her hip. I think that's what the story is, and I'll check the clip to make sure. But she laid there for several days until she died because nobody came to check on her. I guess she lived alone, which is a sad story, a very sad story. And then the second story is a repeat of what you just heard. Allegedly, Dorothy's brother Tim was the man that lived in the carriage house and that he committed suicide in there. So what I'm about to tell you is actually a credit to the Ghost Nation crew. One of their members, I think Tango, went and researched the history of the place and the owners and found that there was an owner named Dorothy, and I'll put the death certificate up here. She actually lived there. I did check the references. I did check the records and make sure that she actually lived at this location. So she did. She was an elderly woman. She did not die, though, of a broken hip or a fall. She actually died of end-stage congestive heart failure, and that's what's listed on her death certificate, which they found, the Ghost Nation crew found. So that kind of debunked that story, that more tragic story. I mean, it's still tragic when someone passes away, but she didn't die of a fall. The story about the carriage house and the suicide came up as the Ghost Nation crew actually tracked down a living relative, and this looks to be legitimate too, but according to the still living descendant of this family, Tim was not the brother of Dorothy, but Dorothy's son, and unfortunately, he died of diabetes around the age of 40. He did not die by suicide in the carriage house. So that debunks that story, that ghost story. So there's really nothing to say as in like a ghost story. I mean, the episode goes on to think, maybe because Dorothy died in the house, that she still haunts the place, which is kind of sad. And I feel bad for any other descendants thinking that maybe she's, hasn't found peace and she's still haunting this place. But as for the carriage house, there's no basis for any kind of alleged paranormal activity. With that said, there's one little clip from the TV show that we've been referencing here that kind of bothered me. They were brought in, I guess, by the family, but also a local ghost hunter, which is part of their, I guess, nationwide network of ghost hunting teams. But this gentleman claims in the following clip to have had a relationship with this family for 7 to 8 years. So check this out.
What's going on? We have had a relationship with the Higgins family for going on, 7, 8 years. The story we've heard from them was that the former homeowner slipped, fell, and broke her hip. Apparently, she laid on the floor for quite some time before eventually passing away in the house.
Okay.
We've investigated this house a handful of times, got some interesting evidence while we were out there.
So what bothers me about that clip is that this gentleman says that they've investigated the house a handful of times, which is more than once, but they continue to have that story about Dorothy falling and breaking her hip and laying there until she died. It strikes me as odd because this Ghost Nation team, Jason and his the other two guys, come in and within 2 or 3 days of doing this filming of this TV show, they're able to uncover the records and debunk the two stories that are associated, the suicide story and the story about Dorothy falling and breaking her hip. But in the handful of investigations that this ghost hunter says that they did at the house and the relationship they had with the owners, they hadn't figured that out, and they were still promoting the same rumor. Unfortunately, this is typical. This is typical of most ghost hunting teams, where they get a story and they accept the story at face value and do their ghost hunt, and not necessarily an investigation. They do a ghost hunt where they go in there, sit in the dark, they do their EVP sessions or take video and stuff like that, and they don't bother to verify the rumor, the story that they're told. And you really need to verify the story, because in this case, the two main stories were not true. They were one was completely false, and both were completely false. Both people did die, but only one died in the house, and she died in her bedroom. But the son didn't die in the house at all. So these were not true stories, and this should have been verified and confirmed from the beginning. And unfortunately, that doesn't happen with most ghost hunts. So the last thing I want to address before I close up is the scratches. The scratches that were claimed to be on the baby's face. And this is from the mother, Heather, who said that after seeing the video of this ghost walking through their bedroom in the carriage house, that she immediately went up to her. She went up and grabbed her baby and hugged her baby. There's no set time because the video is not time and date stamped. The pictures are not time and date stamped. Nothing is time and date stamped. So we don't know if she saw the video that night and ran up real quick, which if that happened, then that should have been on the video. It should have triggered the motion sensor, and the video, the surveillance camera should have picked that up, but we don't have that. So I don't know if this was a different time, and it seems like, I think I read in one of the articles that it was a matter of days or weeks that this actually happened. But anyway, going back to the scratches, that she claims, that her baby is in danger from this entity that's in the house. The pictures that we see here, these are the only two pictures that I could find, and both of them look like the same day, same time frame, and it almost looks like these are still shots or screenshots from a video that was taken. But they don't focus on the scratches. They're not documenting the scratches. It's not like something happened and like if my son growing up was suddenly I woke him up from a nap and deep scratches on his face, I would have taken pictures and said something happened here. I really don't know, if I ruled out all natural causes. And speaking of natural causes, I mean, we're talking about a baby in a playpen because that's where the baby was sleeping. But in a playpen where that happens, babies, they fall asleep, they take naps on their toys and other things that are in there with them, and they wake up sometimes with marks that go away within a few hours, or even less. Sometimes they do scratch themselves because they have really sharp fingernails. They're tiny little things. And sometimes if they get an itch, they scratch and they end up scratching their face. But in these pictures here, we can't, if you don't have proper context, if you weren't told that this baby allegedly had scratches, then it kind of looks like the baby's hair and not anything that looks dangerous. It looks like some hair or some shadowing. We wouldn't be able to tell. You would never, I don't think anyone would notice if you didn't tell them that it was supposed to have scratches on the baby's face. So I don't know if the baby did or not. I don't know. And I'm not trying to say that it was completely fabricated, but I'm just saying that we don't know for sure. That's what I'm trying to say. So to wrap this up, because this is a long video, to wrap it up, I don't think there's anything paranormal or supernatural or anything going on here. I think this was simply mom or dad. I'm leaning towards dad. I don't know why, but one of them that got up in the middle of the night or while watching a movie, paused it, got up to go get a drink or something, and walked across the floor. The lighting conditions and the way the camera was set up made it perfect conditions to have a blurry, motion blurred figure walking by. So I don't think it was a ghost. I think it was mom or dad. The baby actually reacted thinking, oh, mom or dad is up. Again, I want to say, I don't know if I said this already, but the kid was in the playpen, in the room, in their bedroom. So there had to be somebody in there with the baby. It wasn't like the baby was in the room by himself or by herself the entire time. There's somebody in there. And with that, I mean, the other stories were explained. They were verified to be something different than the more tragic stories that were told about it. So I don't think there's anything going on here. I think it was just something that went viral, and then that's it. You know, that's what these things do. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. I hope you did. I hope you enjoyed the investigation and looking into it and comparing notes. And if you did, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel. And lastly, remember, never stop learning. And I'll see you next time.